Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my new video. It's a new series. It's MYKL vs Sideshow. We're doing our Overwatch League picks. And before we get into this, I just want to apologize for the echo on Sideshow's mic. That was my fault. It's coming through my headset. My microphone's picking it up. I had no idea this was going on through the recording. We'll definitely make sure it doesn't happen next time. And also, my first time doing something like this, so the production might be a little off. But welcome to the video. Be sure to smash that like button, drop a subscription if you enjoy the series, and boom, let's go. What's up guys? Welcome to this new series we're doing. It's going to be me, Sideshow. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sideshow. I am an analyst, I suppose, in Overwatch. That's all you need to know.
There you go. I'm MYKL, player for Team Kingarna, and I also make YouTube videos. This new series is basically going to be me versus him. We're going to be arguing, I guess, our picks, and let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off on week 1 and the first day, we have San Francisco versus LA Valiant. And I'm picking San Francisco to win. What about you?
I'm actually going to go with LA Valiant. I feel like there's some kind of historical precedent here just because they also beat them in the preseason 3-2. So, I mean, why would you go with San Francisco Shock other than the fact that you have some kind of history with Baby Bear? I'm sure there's the bias coming in.
Once
already,
okay.
MYKL.
Oh, you want to get in here real quick? Okay, first of all, they played 4 maps right before that set. They went into that after a grueling set with Miami. Or, sorry, Florida. Now, if that set would have been, if they were fresh going into this set, I'm pretty sure it would have been different. I think we both know that. Come on now.
San Francisco Shock, right? Have you seen them?
Oh, wait, you're just an analyst. Sorry, you're an analyst, not a player. You wouldn't know the difference. You don't know what burnout is as a player. So you can't really go in there and play 9 maps straight.
MYKL, I've played at a higher level in another esports game than you've ever played at any esports game, MYKL.
Oh, have you, Side? Well, tell us about it.
Number 2 tracer in the world. I was in the number 2 team in the world. Like, number 2 tracer, but you're in like the 8th best team. Clearly, I've got the advantage here.
Well, you're not telling us though. What's your esports background then?
A little game called TF2. Really big thing. Thing.
Oh, okay.
See, it was a big deal.
Oh, okay. I thought you actually caught me off guard and you were actually some big shot that I didn't know of, but you're just talking about.
It's not true.
So you're okay.
Just bigging myself up for no reason. No, but okay, I've seen the guys on San Francisco Shock, MYKL, and they can take it. You know, they're all big lads. They're strapping young fellas. You're telling me 4 games of Overwatch and they're tired. They play 7 hours of scrims every day. These guys were ready coming into the LA Valiant game, and
scrims. Don't come on. Don't compare scrims to matches. Come on now. That's a mistake. Everybody knows scrims and matches are completely different. When you're in a match, you're putting your full effort, everything. You are dying in that match. So going 9 maps in a row is hard. Very, very hard. But that's fine.
It was. I do agree. I do agree.
Okay.
The San Francisco Shock, they had a bit of a grueling thing when they were coming into the game against LA Valiant. And actually, I wasn't basing it too much on the historical precedent, but it's actually because, in general, I think the LA Valiant are going to be a better team. I think San Francisco Shock have got one style that seems to work for them right now, and because they're such a new team, I think they're still trying to develop that style. Like, as they're playing very much around Baby Bay, their tanks are just trying to make space for him, but not really having too much impact when Baby Bay gets pressured himself. And I think that in the current meta, where most teams are going to be running a Mercy all the time, I think juggling it between Dak and Sleepy, who are both much more comfortable on Lucio and Zen respectively, I think it's not the best meta in the world for San Francisco Shock, despite the fact that Baby Bay can have such an impact. So I think overall, LA Valiant look like they have a slightly more well-rounded roster.
Okay. I think we both agree it'll be a close match though, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So next we have Shanghai Dragons going up against the LA Gladiators. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say thank you for that compliment. Number 2 tracer, yes, I am indeed. Yes, back to Shanghai and the LA Gladiators. We both agree the LA Gladiators will win this one, I think for obvious reasons. No need to go into that one too much. And then the next match we have will be Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty. And I think we're both going with Seoul Dynasty there, right?
Yeah. I think that in general, I expect the Korean teams to still do really well. I think some people are expecting dips in performances from some of the Korean teams. I still expect them all to do really well. And even though I think that Dallas Fuel will also still be a pretty strong team, I expect Seoul Dynasty to actually be one of the best teams in the league, and I think they should still win this match.
You think it'll be an easy one?
I'm not sure about an easy one, but I think I think that on paper it might look like easier than what it actually is when you see the game. I think Dallas Fuel has still got a lot of talent, but even when you look back at when they went into Apex previously, almost every time they went up against a top level team in 2017, they came out looking a little bit flat. So I think it'll be much the same.
I completely agree. So there you go, Dallas Fuel fanboys. There you go.
Unlucky.
All right, going into the second day, we have Florida Mayhem going up against the London Spitfire in the first match. And me personally, I picked Florida Mayhem as the worst team in the league. So I don't know about you.
I think they may well be at the moment. Honestly, it's shocking to see, because when you were watching them in Contenders Season 1, this looked like a really well-oiled machine. Like, they had Logix playing really well and Tvig supporting him, and the team knew how to play the dive meta properly. Coming into the preseason, these guys looked like they were dribblers picked straight out of ranked. It was like they picked some 100 players up and just throwing them into a game. The team play was all over the place. They weren't having big individual performances. There's something really going wrong with Florida Mayhem at the moment. And if this isn't a really one-sided game, then either it means that London Spitfire are choking pretty badly as well, or Florida Mayhem have suddenly fixed all their problems. And both situations, I think, are really unlikely.
Agreed. I think the situation with Florida Mayhem is they've just made a lot of bad decisions coming into the league, only picking up 6 players. Siwoosh is still kind of new on his role. And Tvik, honestly, I think everybody hypes Tvik up. Yeah, I think he's a good player, but he's not like this super flexible player that can play anything at such a high level that everybody has hyped him up for so long. I think those types of roles are going to fall off. You need specialists now in the league, and I don't think he's cutting it for all those roles. But moving on, we have Philadelphia Fusion versus the Houston Outlaws.
You know, actually, even though we both went with the Houston Outlaws here, I think we're both saying that the Houston Outlaws are going to be able to take this one. But for me, that's more because we haven't seen anything from Philadelphia Fusion. And also, we're assuming that they haven't been able to scrim properly with their team. They've just been playing like scrims with the European players over in Europe. So it's a lot of unknowns for Philadelphia Fusion. And I'm kind of assuming that they've not had as good practice as Houston Outlaws. But actually, if I just look at these teams on paper and where I expect them to finish, I think Philadelphia Fusion could be a kind of middling team and maybe overtake Houston Outlaws towards the end of the season, as long as they don't start too badly. I think there's a lot of potential on this roster. I just think that situations and like the unfortunate player logistics issues or whatever have left them in a bad spot for the beginning of the season. So
you think they're a playoff contender then, near the end of the season?
Well, I think they could be a playoff contender if they manage to find a system that works well for them and perform at the best level that they could. But it seems kind of unlikely because they'll probably have a fairly poor start to the beginning of the season. I would expect this team to finish somewhere around 7th, I think, just outside of the playoff.
I think that's fair to I think that's fair to say. Philadelphia, to me, just huge question mark. Going into the preseason, it's hard to put them with any of the other teams. And now going into the regular season, since they haven't practiced, it's the same thing. You know, you don't know where to put them. They could be good. They could be bad. So next match, we have Boston Uprising going up against the New York Excelsior. Now, we're disagreeing on this one. I know they played
another one, Michael. Where you're bucking the trend. I mean, they played like 2 weeks ago.
I get it. They lost. I get it. Yeah. I get it.
They lost, and I mean, this one I think is more egregious than the San Francisco Shock against LA Valiant, because they lost. And although Boston looked like they had good individual talent and they were able to win the control map, where I think it's just more about like how you're able to take very basic team fights and then be able to show off your individual talent. When it actually came to some of the other maps, like Eichenwald, for example, they got utterly steamrolled. Like, they got shit stomped by New York Excelsior, who just genuinely did look like they're a much better team in terms of depth.
One map.
They're coming in with Joe Knack as well.
Okay, one map they got steamrolled on, right? The other ones were very, very competitive. You know, Anubis could have gone either way. Anubis could have gone either way. Dorado, they almost first held. It was close, okay? Nobody can say it wasn't close. Now, the reason why I'm picking Boston Uprising is because I think they want it more. I think they're more hungry. I think, New York Excelsior, the Koreans. I love me some Koreans, too. I know you really love your Koreans, obviously. But
I love my Koreans.
If there were a Korean team to end up slipping, I think it would be the New York Excelsior. Why? Well, you know, they never really were that huge hit in Korea. Yeah, they were good. They were, like, consistently a playoff contender. But they never really got over that hump to where they could beat the best teams.
Yeah,
and I think Boston Uprising has their share of their Koreans too. And I think their Koreans are actually really strong, really underrated. Gamsu, veteran player, strong, striker, probably might be one of the best tracers in the entire league. He's up there with like Bird Ring, Effect, Prophet, stuff like that. And like I said, I think they're hungrier. I think they want this. I think they're going to analyze those games they played them on. I think they're going to come in with better strategies. I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to take this matchup.
Well, I do think that they're going to be hungrier, but I think that they're not really going to be able to eat their way out of not really having the same team strategies prepared. Because for Boston Uprising, they're such a new team that I think they, even if they'd put all of their time into preparing against New York Excelsior, they're just not going to be able to put it into practice quick enough. Whereas New York Excelsior are building off a core that have been together for, what is it, a year and a half now almost. So
I know, and they still look average. Ain't that weird?
Average in Apex,
year,
which is higher than any of the Western teams have ever been able to get. So if,
we're not talking Western team. They got their Koreans over there.
They're at least half a Western team. I mean, they can fill 3 Koreans if they want to, but this is New York Excelsior they're playing against. I mean, New York Excelsior as well. I feel like some people are underrating them because they lost Flower, and they feel like Flower was a really big component of the team. I personally think the New York Excelsior have gotten upgrades on their support side, which was their weakest area of their team, and one of the reasons that they didn't have too much firepower and had some issues with their team play over in Apex. I think Jonak, from what we've heard and the little hints, and we didn't get to see him play in the preseason. Remember, that was Libero filling in for that role, so they were kind of gimped a little bit in the preseason. Jonak, I'm expecting big things from this guy, because all of the whispers are that he's a pretty phenomenal player.
Yeah, and ranked. But I mean, you know, once he goes up against some strong players from other teams that are doing circles around him, Mr. Slow Sense, he's going to have to change it. Like Snow. Oh, come on. We know Snow's hardly going to be playing. And you said 3 Koreans. They got 4. They got 4, okay?
Oh, yeah, they do.
They got Nako. They got Gamsu, Striker, and Kalios. So they're pretty Korean. They're pretty Korean, okay?
Neko, I think, will have PTSD from just being slammed by this team so many times before, and probably just being slammed by Jonak.
No, I think he wants revenge. Actually,
he'll come in.
I don't think it's PTSD. I think he's right. I think he thinks it's his time. But okay, let's move on. Let's move on then. What do we got coming up next? We got San Francisco against Shanghai Dragons. I picked San Francisco for this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that San Francisco should be able to take this one. I mean, the thing about this one is that we're assuming Shanghai Dragons are gonna play at the same level as we saw in the preseason, and they have a little bit more potential, I think, from them. And they were able actually to take Boston Uprising to all 5 maps. So I think.
True.
If we see Shanghai Dragons when they play against LA Gladiators on day 1, if they look much more impressive than they did in the preseason, if for some reason the preseason was some kind of choke, underperformance, the fact that their players had just flown in like the night before they played their games, if those mitigating factors happened in the preseason and they actually turn out to be a decent team, I could see them giving San Francisco Shock a good game and maybe even having a chance to take it. But I'm not expecting that to happen. I actually think that Shanghai Dragons are pretty much as good as they showed in the preseason, which is not that good.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think it's fair to say, though, like you're saying, every team is strong. Every team can potentially take a game off another one, unless you're like Seoul Dynasty going up against Shanghai. But it depends on how hungry the players are, how hard they're working, how much the coaches are preparing for them and stuff like that. Any team can take any team. It could be a close series for all we know. But
I mean, when we're talking about Shanghai Dragons and talking about coach preparation, the guys just had to rake through his wallet, paying fines out left, right, and center for account sharing and for making backroom deals. So I think he's got other things on his mind at the moment.
Potentially. But yeah, San Francisco Shock most likely taking that. And moving on to the next day, another one we disagree with, which is the Los Angeles Valiant going up against Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, actually, because I feel like this could be pretty close and probably depends more on the form of the teams coming into it rather than actually how good they are. I think the Los Angeles Valiant are kind of have got over this slump that Immortals were going through in Contenders Season 1, where they just look like a shocking team. They've certainly improved on that. They've added in new players. Envy now looks like he's playing at a much higher level, and that's made the team a lot better, and they've obviously got Unko and Soon in there as well. So I really feel like Los Angeles Valiant are definitely playoff contenders, and possibly, if they have a really good season, something like a 5th or 4th place team. And they could even bump Dallas Fuel out of there if they end up slumping. But at the moment, I'm weighing the historical basis of Dallas Fuel higher, I think, than you are, because this team has been dominant for so long. They have been the best Western team pretty much back since the game was born. They make really good player decisions of who to add when based on the meta, and I think the effect is basically just going to tear them up.
I don't know about that. Effect's great. Effect's great. Minus effect, I think the Dallas Fuel roster. Okay, I might sound like a Dallas Fuel hater. I get it. You know, I haven't been hyping up that much, but I really think LA Valiant is just going to destroy them. I mean, I'm talking like not even looking close.
You think
I
this
think
is going to be a straight roll? That's bold.
Yeah, I mean, okay. When I look at the LA Valiant roster, I see a bunch of gods. I mean, just Envy is insane. That guy, the preseason, he was the best diva, hands down, out of all the players. That guy played out of his mind. And we're talking about Soon,
good, yeah.
Unco, Silk Thread. I was mind blown with Silk Thread. I mean, I thought he was going to be an inexperienced player, you know, not really knowing what he was doing out there, but he was popping off. I mean, map winning plays left and right. So I was blown away by the LA Valiant. I think they're going to be a super strong team. And I feel like Dallas Fuel's just slipping, man. I feel like they're on their last leg. I think it's a dying dynasty that they never had, you know, and it's just going downhill. I think the addition of all the players is only going to make them worse. I mean, Seagull's awesome, XQC's awesome, Custa's awesome, but I feel like throwing that mix into the, you know, original six, the six that have been so good for so long, basically, is kind of making the team worse, in my opinion. I think they would have been better off if they just ran the same six going into this tournament.
I definitely think it's a pretty interesting question that you raised there, the addition of these three new guys, because it's something really new that Dallas Fuel haven't done before. Normally, they either kick somebody out and bring in somebody else, and it changes the style of the team a little bit. And this time, when they were going into the Overwatch League, I think they just thought we need to cover our bases and have a more well-rounded roster. Normally, they get real key specialists. Like when they brought Mickey in, they put him on Diva, they focused their team around building that one style up. When they brought Effect in, he's basically just been playing Tracer, although he has played a few other heroes for them, and they kind of played the style around him. So I agree with you to some extent. We have yet to see what the style is from Dallas Fuel and how they're going to adapt to it, but I think that they just have such a good system at the moment, and each of their individual players, they can throw so many different strategies at Los Angeles Valiant that I'm not sure they're really going to be able to respond to it. Also, I just watched a bloody vlog from Verbo where he said that they've all taken 2 weeks off between the preseason and beginning of season 1. So they've been napping while Dallas Fuel have been scrimming hard. So if you're talking about preparation...
Do you have confirmation that Dallas has been playing?
Yeah.
So I feel like they'd be a team that would take a break.
Dallas Fuel have been playing, yeah. I can't reveal my sources, but Dallas Fuel...
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Fair enough. I understand your argument, but I just don't see it. I feel like Dallas Fuel is going to slip. Might not even make the playoffs. You heard it. Hey, don't flame me. Don't flame me, guys. Listen, I love me some Dallas Fuel, okay?
Is that a Dallas Fuel pun? Is that a Fuel pun? Don't flame me, burn blue, etc.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. All right. Coming up next, we have Florida Mayhem versus Boston Uprising. I keep wanting to say Boston University because I wrote BU down. But yeah, Boston Uprising, I think are going to take that. Florida Mayhem, again, we talked a little about their struggles, and I just see them being a bad team for the rest of the season.
I don't think they'll be a bad team for the rest of the season. I think this meta is a horrible one for them. I think when you have 6 players and you basically built your team to play dive, like that's the whole reason they built this team, right? They were going into contenders. They switched their roster around. They brought Logix in because he was playing fantastically. They brought Zuppe in because they realized that he was playing really well in that meta and they needed a really good flex support player so Zebasai could go back to the Lucio and really focus on that. So they kind of built their team, that 6-man core, to play one meta. And that was, I mean, it's a fairly flexible meta, right? Dive has been viable for so long. But I think with the Mercy nerfs that are in the PTR at the moment, that could really help Florida Mayhem. Like halfway through the season, something like that. Or, I mean, maybe if they're implemented after a couple of weeks or something, they get an even earlier boost. But for the beginning, I do agree with you that at the moment, they just look pretty tragic.
Yeah, I think they're looking at mid-season signings, to be honest.
Yeah, very possible.
Hey, fair enough. The meta could help them. You never know. Like we said earlier, any team could get good out of nowhere.
Well, also, I mean, when you just look at how they were playing in Contender Season 1, like, they weren't playing against teams that were that bad over in Europe. And they went 27-2. They floored everybody in the regular season.
I mean, Europe was okay. I mean, yeah, they weren't bad. But I mean, I guess.
But it was kind of crazy dominance from them. They were just wrecking everybody when it came to dive. It's just that I think they're so inflexible in terms of what style they can play.
Okay. I don't got much more to say about Florida Mayhem. We'll just have to see. All right, I guess next we have the London Spitfire and Philadelphia Fusion. What do you think?
I think that, again, you don't really know what you're getting with Philadelphia Fusion, but it would be a good bet to say that they're either going to be average or below average because they haven't had the time to prepare and stuff like this. Even though they've got good players on their team, I think they are underdogs coming into this just based on the preparation that they've had and the fact that they have a big challenge making a brand new style for this team because they don't have an existing core roster that they're building onto. Whereas London Spitfire, yes, they choked in the preseason with the GC Busan roster, but the Kongdu Panthera kind of mixed team that they were running looked fantastic. And I don't expect GC Busan to continue choking throughout the whole of the rest of the season. I think London Spitfire are going to be easily in the top 3. I think they're a fantastic team, and this game should be easily in their favor.
Definitely agree. Definitely agree. I think the GC Busan situation that happened over the preseason, I think that was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
I think after they lost, I think they've been working hard. I mean, probably no breaks for them. They were probably very disappointed in themselves. I mean, just going from how good they were to that showing I was mind-blown. I was like,
it was
what the hell's going on?
Wasn't it? Because they won 2 championships. Like they absolutely got the Seoul Dynasty team, albeit slightly worse DPS players. And then they went and dumpstered Runaway and everybody else that was playing in APAC as well. And then they got into the preseason and they just shit the bed. So I agree with you. I think there'll be no breaks for them, but there might have been a little bit of baseball bat from their coach as he just roughs them up a little bit to get them.
If I was the coach, I would have been livid that they lost that. That was no excuses on that one. All right. Going up next, I like this one. I want to talk about this one. New York Excelsior versus the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah, so for me in this situation, I know that you sleeping on the New York Excelsior, but I think that they're going to be a very strong team. I see this actually as an all-round upgrade from Luxury Watch Blue, who have just incredibly consistent performances every time, and they always require an elite team to beat them. So when you look over the whole of the Apex seasons that Luxury Watch Blue and their various situations have played in, all the way from Apex Season 2 back at the beginning of 2017, basically throughout the whole of 2017, if you're not a top 3 team in the world, you're not beating this team. And I think that with the additions that they've got in the support as well, Houston Outlaws, you're not a top 3 team. Fanship does not equal success in terms of performance.
I mean, fans, did you not see Seoul Dynasty versus Houston Outlaws in the preseason? Were you not impressed?
Wait, which team won that one?
I mean, did you not see the New York versus Seoul?
Yeah, okay, but again, this is the top 3 team in the world that beat them. Whereas with the Houston Outlaws, I mean, yes, they did make it impressive, and I think that Houston Outlaws have got a fairly good system working for them. You know, they've got a core of a team, and they've added good DPS players. And Jake and Lynx I expect to get the most play time, and they should be a pretty good DPS.
100%, yeah.
But I think they will just get pretty much wiped out by not wiped out in the sense that
you heard it here first.
But I think they're going to get wiped out in terms of the actual map score. I don't think they have what it takes to be able to take a win off them here. I think no percentage chance of winning. I think they could take a map, but I don't think they'll I don't think they'll make it to a 5th.
Ah, man, this is where we really disagree. I mean, like I brought up that game against Seoul Dynasty, that was neck and neck. I mean, yeah, they got stomped on one map, but other than that, it was super close. That could have gone either way. Houston Outlaws looked really impressive in the preseason. New York, I mean, they got destroyed by Seoul Dynasty. I just feel like, yeah, they were missing Jonak, but again, yeah, Zenyatta is a crucial role, but how big of a difference is that going to make? I just don't see them. I think it'll be a close game. Back and forth. I think each team wins multiple maps, probably 3-2 series. But Houston Outlaws, I just think, like, the system, you talked a little about their system they got in place. I think they have a really good system in place. I think with Jake and Lynxer, insane players. I think probably 2 of the best Western DPS players in the entire league. Those 2 along with, like, Baby Bay. Probably the best Western DPS. And maybe, like, Taimu.
Yeah, I'm not buying into the Jake hype too much, I think, because although his Soldier 76 has improved to the point where it does actually look pretty good, his Junkrat is kind of a niche pick that I think might just get ruined by the meta, and I don't think he has that much to fall back on. I really respect him as a player and a person, because the amount of improvement that he's done since playing on Luminosity Gaming Evil has been phenomenal, because he was frankly a mediocre player when he played on LG Evil.
Really?
And now he is a genuinely good player on a few heroes, I think. But I don't know whether he has the depth to be able to keep up with the meta. I think he'll have to constantly keep working on it. And he's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be like top 3 in the league.
Well, real quick, let's take a look at that LG roster. Why do you think he was just a metacore player?
I think the in general, LG Evil was didn't have that much explosive talent. They played a lot of kind of tank compositions as well. Jake played a lot of different heroes, and I think had a good calling style and a good positional awareness, so he was playing in the right positions all the time, but he wasn't a player to pop off and really explode. When I watched him at the World Cup, I was very surprised by how well he was playing, because his Soldier 76 had never looked like that good. He was hitting Helix rockets that he hadn't been hitting before. His aim and positioning in general, I think, had improved quite a lot, and his Junkrat had come almost out of nowhere. Like when he was playing on LG Evil, played a lot more of kind of the Genji roles and stuff like that. I think that wasn't really his forte. I think he found his stride a little bit more.
Really? Well, from my perspective, as someone who played LG Evil a lot in scrims and tournaments, I got a lot of experience against them. He was honestly a standout player like 90% of the time. I felt if he was on his game, it was really, really hard to beat them, and if he wasn't, it was much easier. Besides like Super as well, who brought a lot to that team, I think honestly he was like the big core member. And you talked about his flexibility. I think he's probably one of the most flexible players in the game, from like Roadhog to Zarya to Genji, Soldier, even Tracer.
He plays a lot of heroes, but I don't think that he plays a lot of heroes to a really good level. I think he is really flexible.
Really?
He can play a lot of stuff, but I don't think that he's like incredible. One of the things that he got criticized for a lot when he was playing on LG Evil is kind of inconsistency, and I think it was demonstrated it more because he was a mediocre player that would occasionally hit really cool heights, and now he's worked on it more so that on a few heroes he can hit those heights really consistently. Whereas before, I think his inconsistency was actually because he was kind of sitting at a relatively average level normally and hitting occasionally pretty good heights.
Really? Okay. I mean, I look at him, and I kind of think of him as, like, what everybody thinks of Tavik. People think Tavik's, like, this ultimate flex god. He can perform at such a high level. I feel like that's more of Jake. So, we'll see. Time will prove. Time will prove. That's what's so exciting about all this. We don't really know what's going to happen, and we'll see who's right or wrong. I mean, obviously me, but yeah. Coming up next, we have the last game of the first week, which is Seoul Dynasty versus the LA Gladiators.
Yeah, I expect this one actually to be a bit of a dumpster fire. I think that Seoul Dynasty are going to completely shred LA Gladiators. Now, I've got the unpopular opinion here of actually thinking that LA Gladiators are going to underperform as the season goes on. Or perhaps underperform is the wrong thing, because I actually expect them not to do that well. So in my mind, it wouldn't be an underperformance, but I think for everybody else, they would class it as an underperformance. I think that they have really good individual players and like individual components. Their support line is fantastic, and they have players that can go huge on the DPS portion at certain times and play in certain heroes. But I have yet to see really good teamwork from them. Like, even when they were playing against London Spitfire, they were playing, like, when they played on Junkertown, for example, it's a very spread out map where you can have individual performances that go off really well, and Shaz is positioning himself in weird angles and being able to get picks on people, stuff like this. Whereas when they go over to the maps that require a little bit more structure, a little bit more team play, and in general, just playing against a team that's got the individual talent to match up with them and the team play in Seoul Dynasty, I think that they're gonna get overwhelmed in that situation.
I can see this being an easy match for Seoul Dynasty. As for the LA Gladiators just being a terrible team, I can see where you're coming from.
Terrible team, but I think they'll be in the bottom 5 for sure.
Bottom 5, okay. I mean, I can see them being bottom 5 easily as well. What you said about them, like, underperforming, what people will think that was underperforming, but that's just their level. I kind of agree with that. I don't think it'll be as bad as you think, but I can see them not, like, improving, kind of.
Yeah.
Not, like, staying at the level of all the other teams. I can agree with that, actually. And I think that's due to like having a smaller roster. They were running some weird stuff too.
They were running triple
like
DPS,
weird
for a huge
triple
amount of
DPS.
matches,
Yeah. Doomfist, stuff like that.
And I don't know.
Experimenting's nice.
Sure, but I mean, kind of the preseason is where you're supposed to experiment, I suppose. And you had to field everybody anyway, so who knows whether that was kind of just because they had to field those players, they were running them in weird styles. But I get the feeling it's more because they like that and think that that's good, and they're going for more niche stuff that accentuates their own individual talent rather than focusing on having a really rigid structure and good team play.
Yeah.
I feel like most teams that accentuate having individual players and neglect the solid team play aspect are the ones that are going to do worse over time. It's easier to figure them out. It's easier to shut down star players, and you don't have the solid base of teamwork to fall back on if things start going badly. So, I mean, this is also an issue that I have with San Francisco Shock, is that I think they have kind of a unique style that's very much based around bigging up certain players. I think that it'll be easier to shut them down than other teams that focus more on kind of well-rounded style.
Okay. I was going to say experimenting's nice, but, you know, cheese stratting can only get you so far. I mean, like, they were standing next to people's spawns at the beginning of the games. Really cheesy stuff they were doing. So, yeah, I don't think that lasts very long. And as for San Francisco, I think they'll be able to adapt. I think once protect the baby base strategy doesn't work as well as it is now, I think they'll find something else. But, I mean, that's all the games for the first week. We got through that pretty quick, huh?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Blasted it. Well, I mean, the final thought is just that I think a lot of people have got similar kind of predictions. I was actually surprised that we only differed on 4, to be honest. And I think the reason for that is because we have so little data. And so we're actually going a lot based on players' previous performances, the team's performances in the preseason, just a small amount of data that we can then extrapolate from. I think it'll be really interesting to see the Overwatch League games as they progress, because I expect a lot of diversions from what people are predicting. You know, the way that we've modeled it in our heads based on previous experiences is likely to change drastically. I mean, a week in, we might completely throw away some presumptions that we had about teams. So, you know, predictions are all well and good, and they show the base level for where we expect the teams to go. But it's the most interesting stuff is seeing where the predictions get turned on their head. And I'm sure that we will see a lot of them in week 1 and week 2.
I agree. I think you wrapped that up very well. I think going into week 3, 4, and 5, the series that we're doing will be very exciting. I think it'll be much different from this week. And, I mean, go ahead and shout yourself out, man. Follow Sideshow, wherever. What is it?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Sideshow Gaming, and you can catch my YouTube at youtube.com/Sideshow1994, because that's the date that I was born in, and I thought that would be
nice. Yeah, subscribe to his YouTube channel. I watch his content. It's good stuff. The Refute This, I like that. That's kind of where we got this idea to do this. And be sure to follow my YouTube channel, follow my Twitter. And thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one. All right. Oh, shit. I wasn't recording.
Don't troll me like that, boy. Don't troll me like that.
I'm just kidding. All right. We'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Catch you next week.